So why was I holding this phone so close to me? Why was I hiding it from you? Well, let me just explain briefly. If you didn't know the news, a little while ago, Sony announced they're going to buy out Ericsson's partnership, their shares in the deal they have with Sony Ericsson phones. So now it's Sony Mobile Communications, and we have the first launch since that was announced. This is a Sony Xperia S. This is just my first impression of it. Let's find out a bit more. What am I looking at? Just a phone, because I can't get used to this. Right there, the Xperia S. This is, as I said, the very first phone from Sony since they, bought out Ericsson for the mobile partnership. So as you can see right there, it's just Sony. So it takes a little while to getting used to, because I admit, even I had a Sony Ericsson a little while ago. And having a Sony phone there, it just adds a little bit of class, and usually a little bit more in terms of pricing. But as you can see from the phone itself, it is very, very sleek looking, very nice, very dark color. Now, this is a 4.3-inch screen, so just to show you exactly, it is a very vivid screen. It really brings out the Sony Bravia mobile engine, as you can see. Let me put it on again. Very crystal clear, and you know what, maybe in a bit I'll show you some video as well, but it's a great, great screen. I do enjoy using that. Everything about it just pops out right at your eyes. Now, other parts I like about the design would be here. Now you can see it's see-through, and you can see exactly what the buttons correlate to just above it. That's a nice little touch, something we don't usually see. It makes it stand out just that little bit more. And if we flip it around to the back, it's got a matte finish, so you're not really going to get fingerprints on that, I have to say. Overall though, the sharp edge design can be a bit awkward for some people, but I seem to like it. I don't have any problems with it, but I think that's a matter of personal preference than anything else. As for everything else about this, in case you're wondering, if you buy it early, you're more likely to have it with gingerbread, but don't worry, because Sony have said in the future, you can upgrade it to ice cream sandwich, but obviously can't show you that on this right now because it's not out. Now, apart from that, it is all very, very, very centric, should I say Android-centric, and everything about it as you glide your way through makes it feel just like any other Android phone, in my honest opinion. Now, there's no skins like you'll see with some of the other Android devices like from HTC, but it's still pretty nifty if you ask me. Now, underneath the hood itself, it's got a 1.5 GHz dual-core Snapdragon processor and pretty much the standard 1 gig of RAM. So it's pretty smooth, as you can see, sliding through with my fingers. Quite impressed with that. Absolutely no complaints. Okay, let me open the camera. Okay, and this is where it really, really comes into its element. I talked about the screen early on, and of course that just helps with the pictures. It's 12 megapixels, and it looks very, very nice and clear on the screen itself, but when you actually take the picture, and you upload it to the computer, don't worry, picture quality is still pretty awesome if you ask me. In terms of video, well, it shoots just like the iPhone 4S, 1080p. Now, as for the actual technology here, it's very, very fast. We're talking 1.5 seconds to capture a picture, and if you've used smartphones to take pictures in the past, you'll know exactly how slow that can be. Now, that's because Sony's got their Sony Exmor R technology inside here as well. Adds to a really, really cool element when snapping pictures. In fact, bearing in mind that cameras are just going down in terms of sales, you can see why when you've got a camera like this. Also, it is PlayStation certified, and you know what? With the Vita out, PS3 out and stuff, who knows what could happen in the future, but it's nice knowing this is also certified in itself. Maybe in the future there'll be more of a tie-up. So what I think about this in closing, it's a very nifty phone. It's one of the better Android ones out there, although I seem to say that every time a new Android phone comes out. But really, this one does very well in everything, really. from the camera, which I said is awesome, and I have to say they've really done well at that, and really, I don't see myself buying a camera right now if you have a phone like this. Other elements I like about it, HDMI port, and of course NFC, which hopefully will take off in Malaysia very soon. In fact, expect to see more of NFC technology throughout the course of the year, from game consoles to mobile phones, etc. Other elements, well, being PlayStation certified certainly helps. I'm a big fan of the concept of putting everything together, similar to what Apple have done with their products, and it could really take off for Sony, especially with possibly PlayStation 4 just around the corner, although again, that's just speculation. Also, it's not too overbearing. In fact, it doesn't put too much of their own stuff inside this. It sticks to the Android element, doesn't really put in too much in terms of Sony, and I don't like it when suddenly you've got this and this and this and this, and it's all different, and it gets a bit complicated. This is simple, easy to use, and I'm quite a fan of it, I have to say. Follow me on a little trip, because we're going to go take a look at something which I really can't carry around because I would break it. 70-inch LED from Sharp. So, question is it as sharp as the name suggests? Oh, I'm funny. But never mind, it's gone. Amazing. Now, we've seen a few TVs in our time on the show, but they all kind of blended together. They all got the smart TV feature and all that. But this, the biggest selling point about this has to be, well, how big it is. Let me give you an indication, right? I'm about 5'8", so that gives you an idea of how wide this is. 70 inches. That is absolutely mammoth. In fact, I think if I lie down, that will be about my height. That's astounding. This obviously is from Sharp. It's the Aquos 70-inch. To give you the exact model number, I'm going to read it out to you. LC70LE735X. Just call it the 70-incher. It is huge. It is a great, great, great thing to see because I'm a big fan of huge TVs, and Sharp firmly believe that bigger is better. So getting a bit more to the nitty-gritty, what makes it else stand out apart from its sheer size? One thing I'm very impressed by, and you may notice, but might be hard to come across in the camera, is the colors and how well it just strikes you as you're watching whatever's on the TV. Now, this is because of this right here, Quadtron. Now, most TVs out there, in fact, all the other TVs have 3 primary colors. This one has 4. So we've got red, blue, and yellow. Now that just helps to enhance the picture, make sure you're getting the best quality out there possible. What else makes it stand out? Well, for me, it's having their net TV, so effectively you can connect online. You see up here we've got a QuickTime, Ricardo, YouTube, and a web browser, so it allows you access to that. You're really into that sort of thing. Not 100% sold on it because I can't imagine surfing and trying to type with this, but you know what? It's something that will definitely grow in the future, and TVs really have to evolve as well. As for the construction, it's all done in Japan. That's the best place to do it, let's be honest, and that's where Sharp is from. So you know you're getting the best quality possible upon this being built. Of course, it goes without saying, you know, it is full HD, and just to mention that, I love full HD. But what about the viewing experience? You're getting 2 times the viewing area of a 46-inch television, so that is absolutely massive. Now, the big thing about it also would be the price. It's a shade under 19,000 ringgit. That is a lot, but you're paying for what you get. And I think all the guys out there agree with me. They would love to have this in their living room. In fact, there's a rule of thumb about how far back you can go in your living room is how big your TV should be. I don't believe in that. I think bigger is better, and Sharp have done a wonderful job with this Aquos 70-inch. It is absolutely astounding. If I can afford it, I would definitely get this bad boy right here, because that's what it is. It's a bad boy. It's people. Time for my really lame magic trick. This looks like any generic Ultrabook, but look, rabbit, it's Toshiba. Now, obviously, you've seen quite a few Ultrabooks from the show. Why? Well, Intel are banking a lot on it, and well, I've said that many times on the show already. How does this stack up against the rest? Let's find out a little bit more, shall we? Expect to see a lot of this type of thing in this entire year. It's coming out fast. I'm talking about Ultrabooks more than anything else. And we've got one of the offerings from Toshiba. This is the Protégé 7830. Now, right off the bat, let's see what makes it an Ultrabook. It's very thin, as you can see. It's less than an inch thick. It's about 0.33 of an inch. If you have the little support things, it'll be about 0.63. It's weight-wise, it's not too heavy. It's actually half a pound lighter than most of the other Ultrabooks out there. That makes it stand apart. And in case you're wondering about the dimensions here, we're talking about 13.3 inches. Now, it's got a magnesium alloy body. It's very nice. And it's got little nice designs of the colors right here for the indication on the lights. But one thing I'm a fan of is the way the hinge is here. It's just one hinge straight across the middle, as opposed to a lot where there's a hinge at the side. That makes it two, obviously. This is just one long support one, which I have to say looks very nice. You give it a very sleek look. So what else is really cool about it? Well, I'll show you here. One thing, and I'm quite happy about this, backlit keyboard when it's dark at night. So a lot of the Ultrabooks did not have that. It's nice to see that they've included it on this device right here. It's got a very nice tile here, raised tiles, so it's a very nice feel when you're typing away. It sits in a little crevice here so it doesn't touch the screen as well. Now, as you can see here, the touchpad, it's large enough. It's got two buttons there. In fact, this button right here will turn it off so it's not active in case you're afraid of pressing something. I can put it back on. Now, if you're wondering, like here, this is quite crucial because they've made everything very sleek looking, put everything in one little corner. You have all your lights here, your power, battery, what's connected like Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and so forth. Believe it or not, right there, it's a fingerprint reader, so enhanced security. It's also got facial recognition software on this Z series, so you should feel pretty safe using it. So what really amazes me, now let me stress again the size. We're talking less than an inch thick. We're also talking 1.12 kg in weight, is how much they've managed to pack in. Remember, this is lighter than most of its competitors here. We got here, right there, SD card reader. Now, they may not sound like much, but trust me when I say this, a lot of the competitors in the Ultrabooks do not have this here. So it's very nice to have that attached. Elsewhere, at the back, let me just point out everything we have. We've got 2 USB ports. We've got the HDMI, obviously the power's right there. This is your Ethernet cable. And this right here, we don't see this very often on an Ultrabook, VGA as well. And they've even got space here for another one. We're talking USB 3.0 as well. They've really packed this in because no other Ultrabook has managed to slot all of these different ports, and it's the most we've seen on an Ultrabook and on something so thin and light as well. So having all these ports in this device still amazes me, and that's what makes it really stand out. They've really put in many features you would see on a standard laptop into an Ultrabook. 128 solid-state drive, that comes with all of them. There is also a variation, obviously. You can have upgrades done like this one, 6 gigs of RAM. This is the i7 version. You can also get the i5 version. Obviously, there's a price difference there as well, something to think about. But I have to say, overall, I'm very impressed. It's really light. It's lighter than most of its competitors. It's really thin, as with all the other Ultrabooks, but it's very similar to a laptop. That's what really makes it stand out. Even the design, I didn't point this out in the beginning, but a lot of them have a wedge-like design. This one does not. This one's flat, and I have to say I prefer that, but again, if you don't like that, you have the other Ultrabook to choose as well. All in all, this is the standout one for me, the Toshiba Protege, and I have to say, it is a real prodigy. Do you get it? Yeah, I have to twist my words there.
If we're talking about Southeast Asia, I think the level has really gone up in the last couple of years, especially in Malaysia. We're doing a lot more work in Malaysia now, more than ever, actually. And I'd say in the last seven years since I've been working with studios here, there's a lot more studios now, much higher quality. So yeah, I mean things are really improving. Well, there's always room for improvement, always, even with some of our, best IP. What they say about developing series or feature-length productions is you never finish a film, you abandon a film, right? Which means that, there's always room for improvement. So, the skill involved is when to call it a day, I think. But yeah. Well, I've certainly noticed that there's a lot more studios in Malaysia providing 3D services, but it's a mixture of 2D and 3D. It's really whatever medium suits the story is the medium that we'll use for any given story.
At first, I was thinking to make it in a shorter series, which is in a 5-minute show. And then when I start working with Cartoon Network, and they suggested we make it into 10 minutes. So to make a 5-minute show to a 10-minute show, we need dialogue. At the beginning, there we design it without any dialogue in the show. So when we have to add in a lot of dialogue, there will be a lot different from my original idea. So there's a little bit tricky there.
I really enjoyed what Avery had to say about first the 3DS and of course the Vita. So he decided to expand a little bit more on it. What does he have in store for us? Only he has the answer in Gamer Station.
It's just the beginning.
Oh! You do know this says keep up.
Yeah, I know that. We got special permission.
You're not gonna tell him about our secret, are you?
You have no idea what you're getting yourself into.
Oh, hi there, and welcome to the Gamer Station. Avery Score here, and you've surprised me during the part of my week I spend in cafes, alone, twiddling away on portable games, and gently hissing at anyone who gets within 2 meters of me. And this week, I'm playing Uncharted Golden Abyss. And what uncharted territory indeed this is for portable gaming, because this will absolutely blow you away. It's unlike everything you've seen. Oh my god, it's an Uncharted game on a portable console. It is beautiful. Of course, the first thing that's going to strike you when you pick up this game is the graphics and the off-the-charts production values. It's absolutely mind-blowing. More on that in a second.
Hi, Marissa Chase.
Nate.
Nope. You aren't one of Dante's buddies. No prison time. You're not gonna tell him about our secret, are you?
You have no idea what you're getting yourself into.
You two were getting all cozy down there.
There's a new love interest this time around by the name of Marissa Chase, and she's taking up the mantle of her grandfather's 20-year-old quest to find the Sword of Stephen, which is the secret to unlocking untold riches in the City of Gold, a myth shared, as Nathan Drake says, in a sort of joke of history by both the Spaniards and the Aztecs. So that's the main crux of your quest. Now, Marissa Chase is kind of an interesting character. You know, she's a bit of a ball buster, and she can get in there and defend herself. She's quite the acrobat, but for random ideological reasons that aren't ever properly explained, she refuses to wield a gun, which makes her kind of a cumbersome ally in firefights. It's kind of the typical damsel in distress scenario where she'll be, you know, between two rocks, kind of between a rock and a hard place, saying, "Ah, help, people are firing at me," and you have to come to her rescue. This is put in stark contrast to firefights in which you're accompanied by Sully, or even by Jason Dante, who proves to be a decent shot despite being kind of a scoundrel. That brings me to the gameplay. The gameplay is absolutely excellent. So if you haven't picked up a PS Vita, you've got these two dual analog sticks, which just handle like a dream. I can't stress that enough. And even though these shoulder buttons aren't really analog, they just sort of click, they're still pretty good and absolutely adequate for firing purposes. You have a lot of options in the way you control Nathan Drake as well. Certain, you know, gymnastic puzzles, if you will, the platforming puzzles, you can simply tap on the screen or drag to guide Nathan Drake in a path up a cliff face, or you can just use the more traditional controls that you might be used to from the PlayStation 3 experience. There are other times when you're going to have to jump from ledge to ledge, and you can simply use the analog stick to accomplish that, or you can actually tilt the console in order to point Nathan Drake in the right direction. So this is kind of a cool way where they introduce you to some of the PS Vita specific controls without forcing them upon you. So you have a lot of options in terms of the way you want to control the characters. The first thing that you're going to notice when you pick up this game is it looks absolutely phenomenal. It looks spectacular. It looks mind-blowing. This is like nothing you've ever seen on a portable console anywhere. It's absolutely gorgeous from start to finish. It blows everything else out of the water, and it would not be out of place on a PlayStation 3 if you would port it right over, with the exception of perhaps some muddy textures or low-resolution backgrounds. There is some reuse of certain environments, such as an early environment of the game that ends up becoming a much later environment. It's explained by the story, seems like a bit of a cop-out, but you know, whatever. It's very much forgivable when you're talking about a full-length game that's going to take you about, 10 to 15 hours to complete on a portable console with production values this sky high. The voice acting and dialogue is every bit what you'd expect from an Uncharted title. There's, witty quips back and forth. In a lot of ways, this is a funnier game and better scripted game than Uncharted 3. The story is really good. This is a full scope, forget everything that you know about, or you think you know about mobile ports. This is a full Uncharted game in its own right. The coolest thing, perhaps, about the PS Vita Uncharted Golden Abyss is that it really makes use of specific PS Vita features. There was a specific moment that I still have vividly in my mind where there's a parchment on which the writing was barely visible, and I was asked to hold it up to a light in order to see better. So there's a rear camera here, and I had this moment where I was like, really? Really? And I went and did it. I stood up on my sofa, I moved the console up to the chandelier, and sure enough, I was able to read the text. So that's the kind of like immersive experience, breaking the fourth wall, that's really worthy of Hideo Kojima and is, in my opinion, stroke of genius. I remember, screaming out rather irresponsibly at the time, "Game of the year! Game of the year!" Only to be met, fortunately, to calm me down a few minutes later by a buggy platforming sequence where Nathan Drake wasn't really hanging out on the ledge unless you moved into a very specific part. So there are certain uneven moments in gameplay that could have perhaps benefited from a little more quality assurance testing, particularly in the second half of the game. But really, these are few and far between, and on the whole, production values and QA is steady and high quality and very much worthy of this franchise. If you're considering picking out PS Vita and taking it for the spin, I would say that this title alone absolutely justifies the purchase. It's phenomenal, and if you're a fan of the Uncharted series, you seriously need to pick it up. It's canon, it's great, and you're gonna love it. I certainly am.